This is another of those very random pickups that I can't explain, except that it caught my eye for two very specific reasons, and perhaps you noticed the same things I did. For one, they made a badminton game. As we saw with I Love Softball, it seems like you could make a game based on just about anything during the Famicom boom era. And as with I Love Softball, it seems like it was maybe a popular idea to sell your weird game with cover art featuring cute girls, and very specifically a cute girl's butt. Now, I was originally introduced to the term fan service through the anime Neon Genesis Evangelion, and even if you've never heard that term before, you know what it is. It's very much about promoting a product or something with content geared towards pleasing the male gaze, if I can borrow that term. It's very much a part of modern gaming in a variety of forms, whether it's just through promotional art or in the games themselves. Certainly beyond the scope of this video series to pass judgment on this phenomenon, but there's no denying it exists. But what's wild to me is how fan service even existed in the 8 and 16-bit eras when, the comparatively primitive 2D art could never match up to the promise of these covers. And goodness knows, what does that half-naked blonde have to do with flying a combat jet anyway? Granted, there were some attempts at, bringing the sexy to the Famicom, but Nintendo tended to keep their systems pretty clean, so that it's certainly a fascinating contrast to what you can purchase on the Switch these days. So as for Super Dynamics Badminton itself, this was published by VAP Games, or VAP. Now, VAP is a name you've likely come across if you're familiar with anime or Japanese television. But in the Famicom bubble era, nearly everyone was trying to get a piece of that pie. So they only made a small handful of games, and I think the only one you might even be roughly familiar with was a isometric shooter called Isolated Warrior. So with all that being said, let's see if the game can live up to the promise of its cover art. All right, here we are. The most exciting game in town, or something like it. Super Dynamics Badminton. Boy, so right away you're probably asking yourself, what does that mean? Coat? 1, 2, 3, and 4? It's not coat, I think it's supposed to be court. Because these are letting you pick what kind of courts you want to play on, whether it's like indoor tournament or outdoor. I like the outdoor. So we've got a single player, obviously. The boy and girl, the only real difference other than the sprite is a little bit different is that the boys game is like five sets longer. But I like the girl, so I'm going to go with a short game. You can continue your tournament, but I've only had this game today. I've only played it for a few hours. I can't figure out, you set which your opponent is, but I guess you're always Japan. I was hoping it changes. I want to be Canada, but I guess I'll just play against Canada. So I'm the girl on the left, who's Japan. Everyone looks the same. It doesn't... The girl on the label is blonde, but all the girls in the game are brunettes. Okay, so the A button is for your racket, and the B button jumps. And this game is all about positioning and timing. You only have the one button for your racket. So what kind of swing you do depends on where you are and with the D-pad. And you can jump and smash, which I've not built. That's not a bad place to smash anyway, but I have yet to be able to smash. And I can get into rallies like this, but she never goes out. It's always in, and I can't hit the... Yeah, I'm going to warn you ahead of time. I don't think I've ever won a set in this game so far in the time I've been playing it. So we'll just play this for a little while. See, I can't hit it. I keep tempting to hit it twice, but like if you're going to lose anyway, then... So this is about when I usually crash and burn. It's like, I don't even know what you do. Okay, well, I do know what you do, because like it's not just overhead. You also have an underhand for lobs at long distances. So I got to position myself for the long distance lob instead of trying to go for the overhand swings. But this is where I just don't know where the positioning is. See, yeah. So you probably noticed right away too that most tennis games traditionally on 8-bit systems are seen from behind the player's perspective, looking towards the opponent. This side-by-side view is just, it feels a lot more like what you'd see during, the 2600 and television era. Sports games then were all like side view. When you think about in television soccer and television hockey, all those games were like side view. I'm trying to remember if the tennis game was side view too, but it's been so long since I played in television tennis, I don't remember. But I'm sure that the Atari version was, 'cause I remember Atari basketball and all those games were seen from the side view, basically. So this feels like a throwback in a lot of ways in terms of how it plays. I'm just doing miserably here. Because I gotta go for those underhand distance lobs, but I have no idea what the positioning is. I just completely lose track. I mean, you can see the shadow of the shuttlecock, but you don't have a shadow unless you jump. So I'm not even sure entirely if I'm even lined up properly a lot of the time. Yeah, this is a tough game. I think you put enough practice in, I'm sure you can get it. And it's cool they got a two-player mode, obviously, but yeah, this is not a game I don't think... This is the sort of game that you might see on a list of emulating, like one of those little packages, the 101 games, whatever, 201 games. You'll probably see badminton in there and say, that's weird. Who makes a badminton game? You boot it up, you play it for 2 minutes and say, well, yeah, that's the thing, and then you never play it again. I think that's sort of one of the reasons why I like the physical carts, because I never would have had any thoughts of this game otherwise, but the cartridge itself is so interesting that I sort of wanted to have it, for the reasons I sort of already discussed. And that's it, man. Canada kicked my butt. That's it. I'm done. I admit defeat. Let's bounce out of this and take you home. So the game, not nearly as... Well, anyway. I'll say no more. Let's bounce out of this. Right, so that was Super Dynamix Badminton. Not a terrible game, but I'm definitely very bad at it. I can't... I don't know if I'm going to play much more of it, but I'll always enjoy looking at that label art. So thanks for watching, and hope I catch you next time on what might be the final episode of the 60-Pin Connection.